So we're going to do 10 tools for Rosh Hashanah. So there's a young guy who's telling a story how his plane landed in a place that I've never heard of, but you probably have, called New Caledonia. Yeah? It's an island close to Australia, yes? French island. And he headed to clear customs, and there was a man there to greet him, and he saw him bringing a Torah. He was holding a Torah, and the man said, "Wow, it's been so long, can I carry it?" He says, "Yes, here you go." And his face lit up. He says, "We're delighted you could come to us. We are maybe 150 Jewish people here, mostly from Algeria and Tunisia, and it's been a long time since we'd have a rabbi here with a Torah." And he says, "I'm not a rabbi. I'm just an 18-year-old Bachur learning to be a rabbi." He says, "Yes, but you can read from the Torah, you can blow Shofar, you can put on mezuzot, you can do everything, right? So for us, you're the rabbi." This man name was Abraham, different Abraham, and they had spoken on the phone before, but that was it. But he would stay there for a couple of weeks. He would spend there the high holidays, helping this community that were kind of isolated. They spoke in French. This guy was from Montreal, so he had kind of a different French, but they were able to communicate. They also talk a little Hebrew when they couldn't communicate in French. And in this Bachur's mind, this wasn't his dream to be there. See, he had been learning in Australia for a year. He was looking forward to going back home to Montreal, where also another shul had offered him a job for $800 to be the chazan. And the fact that he was here instead of there was not, he wasn't super happy. But it turned out that Avram had called the yeshiva to see if somebody could come for the high holidays. And he was the only one who knew how to do everything and spoke French and was a little crazy in the sense that he would be willing to go backpacking by himself to a weird place. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of guilted him into going on this trip. So he went, but he wasn't super excited. So anyways, somebody would lend him a Torah, and they bought 10 mezuzot. He brought 50 kippot with him, and he went to New Caledonia. You been there?
Good morning.
No.
Good morning.
You've been close to it. Yeah. The closest I've been there is San Francisco. Is that close? No. Kind of. And anyways, he visited all kinds of Jews all around the island. He put on 10 mezuzot, he put filling on people. He helped a boy find a yeshiva in Israel. He was interviewed by the local paper as the rabbi came to town. And he taught a lot of classes. And any community meeting, they brought him in for his opinion, even though he was 18 years old. And he gave his opinion. And there was a guy who wanted to give money for the shul, but he didn't want to give money to build a mikveh. And he said, "You know what? The Torah says most important thing to have is a mikveh more than a shul." And so he ended up convincing them. Anyways, and before Rosh Hashanah, between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, he got a little break to do some sightseeing. And a wealthy community member gave him a wave runner for the whole day. And he was going from island to island and snorkeling and looking at the reefs and the corals, etc. And the next day they gave him a plane ticket, and he went to another island and he visited all kinds of indigenous people. And then the next day he went spearfishing with one of the guys who were super good at spearfishing. He didn't fish anything, but the guy gave him some fish for whatever he caught. And the 2.5 weeks blew by. And at the end says, "You know what? I didn't make any money, but I accomplished a lot of things. It was interesting. I had some fun. I visited some new places. It's okay. And in less than 24 hours, I'll be home in Montreal." That's what he was thinking. And Avram took him to the airport, and he said, "We want to give you something as a token of our appreciation." He gave him a envelope. "Thank you." They said goodbyes. he opened the envelope and there was 1,000 Australian dollars in the envelope, which at the time equaled $800. And so here was, he didn't go home, but he didn't lose out on the $800. He got paid exactly the same thing. And he understood the message, which is the message, one of the messages of Rosh Hashanah. However much money you're going to make, you're going to make it. Whether you go to New Caledonia or you go to Montreal, that is set up in Rosh Hashanah, and you don't have to stress extra about it. This guy got a very clear sign of it when he made exactly the same amount of money, one way or the other way. Yeah? You got excited? I talked about the Far East.
Thank you.
I didn't do it on purpose. Prepared this class like 7 years ago. So, okay, so 10 tools for Rosh Hashanah. Tool number 1, or idea number 1.
Yeah.
The day of Rosh Hashanah, the world is hanging on literally by a thread. We literally say that during davening, Toile eretz al blima. The world is hanging on by a thread. Because even though everything appears to be working normal, you look around, the sun, the moon, the stars, the clouds, everything's working. What do you mean the world is hanging on by a thread? But all the spiritual energy that is infused into the world on a daily basis is not there. So this year's Rosh Hashanah is Friday night. So Friday night right before Shabbos, all the energy is sucked out and just the absolute bare minimum is still there, just in case Hashem decides to renew the contract, right? We have a rental agreement where we're renting the world year by year, and he has an exit clause. Hashem has an exit clause, Rosh Hashanah. And so the year ends, and until he renews the contract, we're literally in limbo. It's like, are we here or are we not here? Yeah? That's why tzaddikim feel this very strongly. First night of Rosh Hashanah, they feel how the world is weak, how the world is in danger. The Rebbes who used to farbrang and speak and say mamarim, Hasidic discourses, they would never do this the first night of Rosh Hashanah. There was no speaking the first night of Rosh Hashanah. It was just davening. Because things were serious. Things were not normal. And so the work of Rosh Hashanah, as Zev knows very well, is to crown the king again. Make Hashem king again, just like Adam Arishan did the first time on the 1st of Tishrei of the year 0, or the year 1. Depends how you count it, because we had 6 days or 5 days before that, right? Because the world was created on the 25th of Elul, and then Rosh Hashanah came. And so that's why during davening we say in the Musaf prayer, which is like I wouldn't say the highlight, but from the davening perspective, is certainly the longest part, right? Musaf prayer, which is connected to the Shofar, and we also say Tem Psukim, where we're talking about Malchuyot, we're talking about how Hashem is our king, and trying to awaken in him the desire to be king again. We say 10 psukim on Zichronot, remembrances, where we're trying to remember Hashem, our special relationship that we have. And we say 10 psukim on Shofros, where we're describing the Shofar, the power of the Shofar, as the scream from the Neshama who's trying to reconnect to Hashem. And when we actually blow the Shofar, that's a critical moment where technically Hashem accepts our pleas and renews the contract and becomes king again. Which is why the moment of the blowing of the shofar is, again, we know that is the highlight of Rosh Hashanah. People come and they go just to hear the shofar. And they don't even know why they're here. They don't come any day of the year, but they come Rosh Hashanah to hear the shofar. If we don't tell them anything, they'll come the first day of Rosh Hashanah this year where there's no shofar. And then they have to come the second day as well. This year there's no shofar Rosh Hashanah. It's a whole different year. How can we accomplish this without the shofar? But Shabbos accomplishes the same without the shofar. So this year, it's a special year in that sense. But technically, when we hear the shofar, it is the exact appropriate moment to ask Hashem for what?
New Year.
New year of laning, parnasa, what? Health,
Parnasa, everything.
happiness. No.
No?
We just want Hashem to be our king.
Our King.
We are going to ask Hashem a lot of stuff during Rosh Hashanah,
Right.
but the moment of the shofar is Hashem, we want you to be the king, and I want to be nullified to you. That is the most appropriate thought to have in mind during the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. It is tempting to say, but this is such a high moment, let me ask at least for this. It's not a sin if you want to ask for something else, but the most appropriate thing to ask for or have in mind is, Hashem, we want you to be our king again. This is a profound request that the only way to express it is not in words, even though we say it a lot in words during davening, but the best way to express it is with just a shout from the depth of our soul, which is represented by the shofar. Yeah. So that's the first tool that we're discussing regarding Rosh Hashanah. The second tool is not being just going with the flow and not knowing what's coming next. I know it might be exciting when you watch a movie that you don't know what's coming next, so it's entertaining. But when you come here Rosh Hashanah, you shouldn't just, let's see, now it's Avinu Malkeinu, great, let's do it. You should know what's coming. You should know the structure. You should know where you are in the map. And even though you did it last year, if you don't kind of review a bit, you could suddenly realize, I remember this. Because you didn't think about it before. So this other tool is related to knowing where you are and where we're going. First of all, not this Motzei Shabbos, but next Motzei Shabbos, we're going to start Slichos Motzei Shabbos. We're going to do Slichos the whole week, including the Friday before Rosh Hashanah, where it's a longer Slichos, which is Slichos for every Rosh Hashanah. We keep obviously doing Shofar till then. All throughout this time, we have to do a Cheshbon HaNefesh. We have to do our spiritual accounting of what we done right, what we done wrong, what opportunities we have taken advantage of, which ones we haven't. Especially the last 12 days of the month, starting from the 18th of Elul, Chai Elul, where each day corresponds to a month. And so Chai Elul, 18th of Elul, you have to analyze your last Tishrei and plan your next Tishrei. On the 19th of Elul, you analyze your last Cheshvan and you plan your next Cheshvan, and so on and so forth. You have 12 days for 12 months of the year. Even though I think next year we have 2 Adars, you'll have to figure out how to plan 2 months in one day for Adar. Yeah. And now really before Slichos, so I jumped the gun. Before Slichos, that Shabbos morning is Shabbos Mevarchim. Shabbos Mevarchim Tishrei. We do the whole Tehillim. If you're not ready to do the whole Tehillim, you at least can do a little more than you did either last Shabbos Mevarchim or last Shabbos Mevarchim Tishrei. We do not bless the new month because Hashem blesses the new month because it's Tishrei. So we don't do the blessing of the new month, but we do Tehillim. We'll also be doing that Shabbos, the last 2 paraks of Pirkei Avos, 5 and 6. And of course, we will have a Fabrengen, yes, to prepare for Rosh Hashanah. And now, Erev Rosh Hashanah, again, we do Slichos, long Slichos. There's no Shofar because we're confusing the Satan. I'm not sure how he can still be confused after so many years of confusing him, but we are confusing the Satan. We're making a break between the Elul Shofar and the Rosh Hashanah Shofar. We do a Tarat Nedarim, where we annul our promises in front of ideally a panel of 10 judges, or 3 judges if you can't find 10. If you don't do it at Rosh Hashanah, you can still do that until Yom Kippur. Important to go to the mikveh at Rosh Hashanah, even if you don't go on a regular basis. Prepare, come early to shul, etc. Rosh Hashanah, you start with Ma'ariv. It's not super long. It does have the changes in the Amidah HaMelech HaKadosh, all the inserts and things like that. We have a nice dinner. We eat apples and honey, and people have different kinds of customs. Chabad custom is mostly just apples and honey and having the head of a fish or the head of a ram, but other people have lots of customs where you eat carrots and you eat a whole bunch of other stuff. Whatever customs you have is good. The next day, you should try not to eat before Shofar, which basically means you don't eat before lunch. You can drink, you can have a coffee, you can have water, you can have whatever you want to have. You should not eat before Shofar. And once you get to Shofar, you're literally in the middle of davening. Well, you would have to make kiddush to eat. So you technically don't eat till lunch. It's not a fast because again you can have something to drink. That's the ideal way. If you are going to have some kind of issue with that, there are ways to get around it. We do shacharis. Now there's a lot of songs and poems and things like that. We have Amina Malkeinu, the Torah. They have Shofar. This year we're not going to have Shofar the first day. We have the Musaf with Shofar, with more repetition, with more songs, with more poems. Tehillim, the 3 extra Tehillim, and the long Shofar at the end. So we have the full 100. We do 130 blows during shacharis. We have lunch with a lot of joy because we're sure that everything worked out well, that we are already signed in the correct book. Yeah? No? In all the correct books. You do not nap, even though it's Shabbos, even though you might have had cholent. Especially the first day of Rosh Hashanah, you do not nap. Some people allow napping on the second day. Ideally, you don't nap either day. You don't sleep much during these 48 hours. Then you do mincha, you do tashlich. Although here usually we do tashlich before mincha. And again this year, because the first day is Shabbos, we're going to do tashlich on Sunday, on the second day, because we can't bring our books to tashlich. And the idea is any moment you have free, which means you're not sleeping, davening, or eating, you should be saying Tehillim. You should wake up early to say Tehillim both days of Rosh Hashanah. When you're not taking a nap, you're saying Tehillim. And the official custom that supposedly people do is to finish the Tehillim not once, not twice, not thrice, not 4 times, but 5 times during the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. So if you think Shabbos V'Barchim is hard, you have to finish it once. Again, this is not, I'm telling you, there's a custom that people do to finish it 5 times during Rosh Hashanah. You do not have to finish it 5 times, but you for sure should try to push yourself to do considerably more than what you expected to do, because that's all you can do during quote-unquote free time. Technically, the second day, again, it's structured the same way, but at the end of the second day, the custom is, I don't know if we're going to do it, some years we do it here, some years we don't, is to do Seder Nigunim, where we sing 1 nigun from each of the Rebbes, starting from the Baal Shem Tov. Then we do Havdalah just with wine, and then we prepare for Tzom Gedalia, the fast day of Gedalia, which is, this year it's going to be on Monday. It's only a day fast. There are slichos that day. That's the last day of slichos we're going to do. But we do say Avinu Malkeinu the whole 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. We're going to have in the middle Shabbat Teshuvah, where we read Parshas Vayelech. You know Vayelech? No, not yet. I think we do Vayelech this year. And then we head on to Yom Kippur, Kaparas with chickens, etc. Now we went too far. So again.
No, it's Hazinu.
So Nitzavim Vayelech are together this year? Maybe. So it's Hazinu.
No. Between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is...
Hazinu?
It's Hazinu.
Okay.
I thought so.
Anyways, this second tool is not very fun or entertaining, but you have now just done a quick review of Rosh Hashanah before Rosh Hashanah. You can still do a better one by grabbing the actual Machzor and going through it and seeing where it is, so then when you're there, you know what's coming, you know what's what. And I know it's not as exciting as having it done and seeing it for the first time, but that's the tool. Tomorrow we will continue with more tools.